Check it out. I'm back with another video. Before I get started, I want you to just go over and like and follow the page if you're on Facebook, and if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get the updates when I drop a new video. Also, shout out to Young Lord over at Raw Key Beats for supplying me with these free tracks that you're listening to in the background, or that you hear in the background. So I wanted to talk about this video that I found where this man tried to shame this homeless guy for not changing his clothes. I don't know how old this video is or if it's real, because there's been some talks about it being some kind of skit. But regardless of, if it's real or not, this video should make us all think about something. The man recording, he asked this gentleman when he was walking out the store why he was always wearing the same clothes. The homeless guy then replied that he's wearing the same clothes, and he asked the guy, did he take a bath or was he able to change his clothes? So I'm gonna let you kind of listen to this and actually let you watch the video of the exchange.
Hey, bro. Let me ask you a question, man. Why you ain't changed clothes, bro?
Let me ask you a question. Every time you see me, you gotta ask me a question like you 50 Cent asking people 21 questions.
But, bro, you gotta have some hygiene.
Let me ask you, did you take a bath last night?
Of course, and that's what I'm telling you, man. You gotta have some hygiene,
well, congratulations, because I'm homeless and I had the luxury to take a bath every night and wash clothes like that. So be grateful for what you got and stop always talking about people and stuff. That's what's wrong with people. They always talking about people instead of trying to help them and stuff. Just thank God that you able to take a bath and change your clothes every night. I might have them on the next day and the next day and the next day. That's between me and God. You worry about yourself. Any more questions?
You good?
Oh, I'm right down what I thought. Have a blessed day.
So there you have it. The homeless man, he gave this guy a life lesson that I think we can all learn from. I don't know if this gentleman who was recording was trying to be funny or, for whatever reason, for likes or follows, but, real or not, there's nothing funny about, somebody being homeless. We don't know that person's situation. And to be honest, any one of us can be homeless in the blink of an eye. Why are people so quick to turn their noses up and look down on homeless people? They already have it bad enough. And just imagine if you were in that situation where, you couldn't shower when you wanted to, or get food out the fridge when you wanted to, or having a roof over your head when it's cold or hot outside. And just from looking at that video, I have to ask, where's the compassion? If you're not trying to help or add something positive to that person's life, then it's best that you don't say anything at all. The dude took it upon himself to disrespect this man and then went as far as to record that exchange. So for him to ask the man about, him wearing the same clothes, it leads me to believe that this guy hasn't really looked at the entire picture when it comes to homelessness in America and across the globe. Forget all the stereotypes that have become associated with homeless people. They're not all on drugs or alcohol. They aren't lazy, and they all don't choose to be homeless. And to better understand some of the causes, we have to be able to go deeper than what we see on the surface. Like I said, we don't know their situation. Everybody's situation is different. There are many different factors that can contribute to a person's experience when dealing with homelessness. They may be dealing with a certain set of circumstances that make it difficult for them to maintain adequate housing. These circumstances can include evictions due to not being able to afford housing. And if you know anything about evictions, that stuff goes on your credit report. And a lot of times, rental places, they won't even give you a chance once they see that eviction on your report. Another circumstance is sometimes people suffer from mental illnesses and addictions, which can be a challenge when looking for a place to live. That stereotype about homeless people, being lazy, it's a myth. And I mean, think about it. People who are in that position have to always be in search for the basic necessities of life. For example, food, clothing, shelter. For somebody in that position, tomorrow may not be like yesterday when it comes to these things. You know, we take a lot of shit for granted, and we never stop to count our blessings because, like I said, we could easily be in that position. The fact is that people who are experiencing homelessness, they don't have the luxury of being lazy, especially when the basic necessities of life are involved. I mean, just take something as simple as, I don't know, maybe looking for a job and getting an interview. Think about how challenging it can be for somebody who first doesn't have a roof over their heads, and then not having access to running water or electricity. Think about how challenging it can be when you don't have a computer, a permanent address, or a phone, so that potential employers can get in touch with you. Then on top of all of that, you don't even have clean clothes. And then people say, well, maybe they just need to get a job, you know. So even with those challenges, you know, that come from all of those things, like I mentioned, you know, let's throw in another challenge. Think about the barriers when it comes to transportation. And depending on what city you live in, public transportation may not be available. And if you know anything about public transportation, it's not always reliable. And you can forget about trying to go to a dealership and buy a car. And then when they do find work, you know, it's more than likely going to be some part-time, low-wage position that doesn't meet their needs. And they end up, you know, going back to square one because of expensive housing costs. And then when we look at local shelters and food banks, those things alone aren't enough. You know, the funding for these programs have to come from somewhere. And these things, they might get you through the day, but what about the next day and the next day after that? Also think about having to get those shelters and food banks. You have to get there, you know, you have to be able to kind of get there and get in line by a certain time in order to kind of take advantage of those services. You know, it reminded me of this movie, what is it? The Pursuit of Happiness, where the main character, played by Will Smith, he was playing Chris Gardner, which is a true story. He was a homeless salesman, and you know, him and his son, they had to get to that shelter at like 5 p.m. every day just to get a room. So these resources are available, but they do have limitations. And I think after the year we just had, you know, it kind of brings the situation with homelessness to light. You know, I watched this thing on TV about people who had jobs and they were let go because of the COVID pandemic, and the company, you know, they couldn't afford to keep them on, and they had to, you know, they had to leave their homes. They had to leave their homes, and then they were jobless, and then they're homeless. You know, all that stuff kind of trickles down. It's like a domino effect. You had some people living in their vehicles, and they were using that as kind of like a shelter, but that was only like a few. So just imagine if you didn't have that. And I think we need to not only be a little bit more compassionate and not try to pass judgment, but also we need to understand that we can easily be in that situation. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and give money to every homeless person that you see, but at least treat them with the same dignity and respect that you would want. So that's just my thoughts on the situation. Let me know what you think about it. Should we be more compassionate? And was this dude that was recording and asking this man about his clothes, was he out of line? But it's just bad to see. And like I said, I don't know if that whole thing was real or not, but regardless if it was real or not, you know, it's not a laughing matter, because we see and we have seen the effects and the long-term effects of homelessness, and in America. And I've seen it from, you know, being from where I'm from, back in Atlanta, and now living out here in Las Vegas. I see it, and it seems like it's the same exact thing, you know, just different cities. But yeah, let me know what y'all think, man, and I want y'all to take care, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.